keeping receipts. Headlines fine, but we read past the tweets. If it's news, if it's now, Steve breaks it down. Cause the truth hits different when the facts come out. Scrolling through the chaos, everybody's got a take. But Steve's in the live with the sources on display. No rumors, no drama, no somebody said. Just what's proven, what's solid, what's actually been read. He's calling out the claims, separating real from fake. Cutting through confusion like a clean earthquake. Current events, yeah, he's got that mapped. If it's not verified, it's getting unwrapped. So drop your questions, drop your doubts. Steve's here sorting all the truth from the cloud. No panic, no spin, no agenda to flatter. Just one simple rule, facts still matter. Facts still matter, say it louder, say it louder. Truth cuts through all the noise, that's power. Steve's in the chat with the real-time data. Drop that spin, we'll fact check it later. Facts still matter, yeah, we're keeping receipts. Headlines flying, but we read past the tweets. If it's news, if it's now, Steve breaks it down. Cause the truth hits different when the facts come out.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's Tuesday, January the 13th, 2026, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We know you got many choices to make every single day. So we're always grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. Check this out. Right? You see that? Jenny's number on my chest. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate that. Please help us out. Obviously, about 15 minutes or so into the show is generally when we get our first gift goal suspension. I still don't know why. Cannot figure it out. Spoke to other creators. It happens to some. It doesn't happen to others. So if you could help us hit our gift goal now, that'd be fantastic. You want to support the channel, you can do so through the various things. We post the goal here. If you'd like me to read whatever it is that you write, I will. If you don't want me to read it, just tell me that you don't want me to read it, and I won't. Thank you, Swishy Raiders. Thank you guys for being here. You know the drill. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. Please consider joining our team. And there's also a flash goal, so let's do that too. All kinds of stuff going on this morning. Boy, it's asking me to be focused. All right. Please consider, again, tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. If you'd like to join our Discord, you can do so through the link that's in the link tree that's in my bio. If for some reason it doesn't work, please reach out to one of our moderators and they will help you out with that as well. A couple of things to point out. In the merch store, there's a couple of new items. One says, if not us, a t-shirt series that's set, t-shirts, sweatshirts, other things. If not us, when? If not us, who? If not now, when? Yes, and yes. Please consider checking that out. Also, you'll see a link in the link tree that says Tobias. That would happen to be my son's merch store. He's an artist. Everything you see in there is original artwork of his. So do a fella solid and help him out. I'm so glad you guys are here today. Thank you. We've got a lot to cover. Really, really appreciate you all. So we are going to get into what is, I don't know how else to describe it other than beyond disturbing. So there will be numerous trigger warnings throughout the show today, and I've made a commitment and a promise to you all that I will do my absolute best to not re-traumatize people. There's a line, right? There's a line about, reporting on this story so it doesn't get pushed away, because again, don't get distracted and just sensationalizing it just for purposes of sensationalizing it. I'm not going to do that. I am, however, going to be sure that we cover this story. It's pretty disturbing. There's quite a few things in here from an alleged victim. Everything that I speak of today we do what we do here. We report on what we know, right? So what we know is what's been released. There are allegations that are being made, and we will represent the voices of victims and survivors, because that's what we've always done here. Yes, Laura, Sasha Riley. We'll be talking about that, and I'm going to play some sound for you. I'm going to do my best to edit it. There's a couple of summaries. I want to thank my amazing mod team. We were discussing this last night, so we'll get into that today. There's quite a few things. There's some names that we didn't necessarily have initially. I found some threads that I didn't even know existed based on this. So, we can share this. We'll share what we report on what we know and what we have. And what we know is a voice of a survivor, and this survivor is ready to go public, and that's what we do here. We believe women, we believe survivors, and we will do our best. I will do my best to try to navigate through this as best as we can. Before we get into that, again, just a reminder, tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. So thank you for that in advance. Before we get into all that, there's a few things that we should kind of address that are still in the news. We spent a lot of time yesterday talking about ICE, right? We spent a lot of time talking about where some of how the funding has happened, why are they getting increases in budgets and how there's been called for congressional cuts to budgets. This was just shared in our Discord, AOC making a statement. And these things are like crucially important because it's like the inner workings of politics that we don't know, right? The things that we don't see. We can draw our own conclusions because, we're well read. You guys are the smartest chat on TikTok, but ultimately this comes down to money, as it always does. So AOC was captured coming out of Capitol Hill.
On government funding, we're back.
And as we know, the government shutdown is scheduled again for the end of January unless Republicans can figure this shit out once again. But she said something very, very interesting. I think it's something that we all knew, but now knowing what we know by the rise in violence, the ultimate level of violence, perpetrated at the hands of ICE agents who are not properly trained. There's reporting that their 6-month training window was cut down to 47 days. So anyway, here's AOC talking about funding.
To run out of money. What should be the red lines when it comes to ICE funding? When it comes to DHS, should there be policy or reduction in funding? What should be the options?
I mean, in terms of which deadlines line up with which goals, that's a tactical decision to be made. But my position has always been clear that ICE funding should be cut. We're seeing what they're doing with this reckless explosion in funding. And mind you, just so everybody knows, I want everybody to understand the cuts to your health care are what's paying for this. All that extra money that everybody's paying right now in their premiums, all that extra money that you're paying, it is paid for it is all of that extra money that the government and the ACA subsidies that was given to nearly $1 trillion in healthcare was taken out and given to ICE.
So people should think about that, right? We know that cuts to social service programs, Medicare, Medicaid, the ACA, right? I literally just paid my premium. That was really fun. At the same day that I lose a client, but anyway, different story. That's where these budget cuts are going. Not only ICE, but it's also to pay for the tax breaks that they gave the corporate billionaires. So that's part of this what I only can see as diabolical. So we've got American streets that are being occupied by what I will call a Gestapo-style police force, masked thugs terrorizing citizens. And, we've got so many examples of ICE agents using their cars, weaponizing their cars. So then should American citizens be able to do the same thing that Jonathan Ross did? According to all of our, rise up against a tyrannical government crowd, right? Anyway, so that's what we see. And then we talked a little bit yesterday about, this is great. Okay, Stevie Mac. Okay, yeah. See, this is how desperate they are, right? We're going to get this a lot, and this is again how you see Stevie Mac. That's not, if you think that that's a flex, that's more indicative on the kind of person that you are, not me. That's more about you. So I'd like you to be introduced to the chat. Chat meets Stevie Mac. Good luck with that, Stevie Mac. So again, we spent a lot of time discussing some of the funding connected to ICE and where a lot of these agencies who invested in not only the detention practices, but the detention centers as well, saw massive profits in 2025. Well, this story, I don't want people to forget about this one particular story regarding Tom Homan. So I've got a little bit of sound because he was interviewed by Kristen Welker over the weekend. Remember, we played the very interesting contrast between when he goes into what he would consider hostile waters, right? He was very, very agitated, very aggressive, very assertive, very, very non-committal in his answers when sat down with Kristen Welker. And then when he sits down with Dr. Phil, he was all soft and tender. And yes, we really respect the agent, and he's going through a lot right now. That's propaganda, right? So I'm gonna play this sound for you, and I'm gonna connect some more dots for you. So this was Kristen Welker interviewing Tom Homan, asking him about that $50,000 bag of cash Let me know when you hear an answer to her question.
Almost out of time. I do want to give you the opportunity to respond to some lingering questions about you. As you know, in an undercover operation in 2024, the FBI recorded you accepting a bag which was determined to contain $50,000 from agents posing as business executives who said you indicated you could help win government contracts in the second Trump administration. I want to stress there was an investigation. It was closed last year. The Justice Department said it found, quote, no credible evidence of any criminal wrongdoing. I do want to give you an opportunity to respond, though, Mr. Homan. Where is that $50,000? Did you keep it or did you return it?
I didn't take $50,000 from anybody, and that's a question for the FBI. I'm not going to give the story any more air. Bottom line, I did nothing illegal. I did nothing, in the FBI and DOJ review this. No credible evidence I did anything because I didn't do anything illegal.
But was there $50,000 in the bag and did you return it?
I'm not giving the story any more air. This is an attack on my integrity and my professionalism. I'm not addressing it. That's a question with the FBI.
Can you address, given that it's been recorded, did you keep the money? Did you return the money?
I did not keep any. $50,000 is ridiculous. The FBI has been clearing this, and it irritates me. This story keeps going on and on and on, even though I've been found to do nothing inappropriate. So I'm not going to ask any more of these questions.
But just a bit, did you return the money?
I didn't have any money to return.
Okay.
I didn't take the $50,000, bottom line.
Okay.
Let me ask you, you're saying you did nothing unlawful. Would you be comfortable with the FBI releasing the recordings?
That's a decision of the FBI.
But it might be a decision for the FBI, but would you be comfortable if they released?
Again, I'm not getting ahead of the FBI in this investigation.
But can you just say, on a personal level, would you be comfortable releasing the recordings?
I am not going to get ahead of the FBI. That's their decision.
Okay. All right. Mr. Homan, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate it. When we come...
Interesting, right? So non-answers. So when somebody answers questions like that, they're lying. So just to reset people, in case people had forgotten about that story, Tom Homan, former senior immigration official who served as acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement under President Trump in the administration that began in 2025, he was appointed as White House border czar additionally. Undercover FBI sting operation in 2024. Federal agents reportedly set up a sting operation in 2024 in which undercover FBI agents posing as business executives met with Homan, according to multiple news reports and internal documents. Homan was recorded accepting a bag of cash containing $50,000 after indicating he could help the agents obtain future government contracts related to border enforcement if Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election. Now, I think it's important to remember that we talked about this yesterday because at its core, ICE is a money-making scheme. I'll get back to the reporting on the Tom Homan situation in just a second. But when Donald Trump initiated his crackdown on immigration, private corporations rejoiced. An executive chairman at Geo Group, ICE's top contractor, called it an unprecedented opportunity. Trump's big, beautiful bill allocated $170 billion additional taxpayer dollars to immigration and border enforcement. ICE's already bloated budget in 2025, ICE handed out at least $3.9 billion in federal contracts. Amazon, AT&T, Booz Allen, Catchy, Charter Communications, Comcast, Dell, Ecolab, FedEx, General Dynamics, L3 Harris, Motorola, Thermo Fisher is on this list as well. There's some debate about that one because I think that they've got some entities that are connected to this. Also UPS. The Geo Group. In February, ICE awarded Geo Group a $1.2 billion contract to reopen a migrant detention center. In November, The Intercept reported that ICE had hired immigrant hunting bounty hunters from Geo Group. That contract was worth $121 million. The company reported second quarter earnings of $636.2 million in 2025, a 10% increase compared to the same time period in 2024. Core Civic, not just another big private prison company, is just another big private prison company that works with ICE. In 2022, Core Civic made almost $560 million from ICE detention centers alone. Since Trump took office, they've increased their profits to nearly $680 million. That's important because of what the claims are. Again, federal agents reportedly set up a sting in September of 2024 in which undercover FBI agents posing as business executives met with Homan, according to multiple news reports and internal documents. Homan was recorded accepting a bag containing $50,000 in cash after indicating he could help the agents obtain future government contracts related to border enforcement if Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election. So, like, is that just a coincidence? We draw conclusions based on what we have. So Tom Homan refused to answer the questions that he was asked, right? He refused to answer. But we look at all these companies that were brought in that made millions, in some cases billions of dollars off of these ICE detention centers. And part of the process, right? Part of the deployment of Gestapo thugs across the streets of American cities. And Tom Homan, through these encounters, was the key man. The bag was reportedly a takeout bag from Cava Restaurant. Audio video recordings of the encounter are said to exist and were sought by outside groups and lawmakers. The encounter led to a federal bribery investigation involving Homan, run out of the U.S. Department of Justice Public Integrity Sector and the FBI. But when Donald Trump returned to the White House in 2025, Trump appointed officials in the Justice Department shut down the investigation, saying there was no credible evidence of criminal wrongdoing and that the probe should be closed. What do you think? There's tapes. Release the tapes, right? So if there's no credible evidence, if the claims that were made in 2024 is that there's audio and video recordings of this happening, $50,000, the promises made, Bagman, the promises made would be that you would get access to the president and you would get priority, special treatment for government contracts related to ICE. I'm going to be the guy in charge of ICE. I'm going to be the border czar. I'm going to be the one that's influential and help me make these decisions. These companies, so numerous companies, again, allegations, of course. These companies have enriched themselves billions of dollars. And Tom Homan, listen, just real quick, let's just listen to his statement again. Again, we're making accusations here. Yes, I understand that. But she's asking the right questions. Here it is again.
Let me ask you, because we're almost out of time, I do want to give you the opportunity to respond to some lingering questions about you. As you know, in an undercover operation in 2024, the FBI recorded you accepting a bag which was determined to contain $50,000 from agents posing as business executives who said you indicated you could help win government contracts in the second Trump administration. I want to stress there was an investigation. It was closed last year. The Justice Department said it found, quote, no credible evidence of any criminal wrongdoing. I do want to give you an opportunity to respond, though, Mr. Homan. Where is that $50,000? Did you keep it or did you return it?
I didn't take $50,000 from anybody, and that's the question for the FBI. I'm not going to give this.
It's not the question that she asked. The question she asked was, where's the money? Okay? That's the question she asked.
Story anymore, Air. Bottom line, I did nothing illegal. I did nothing in the FBI and DOJ review this. No credible evidence I did anything because I didn't do anything illegal.
But was there $50,000?
So that's like somebody saying, I broke into that building, but I didn't do anything illegal. Well, breaking into the building would be illegal. Just like we talk in here all the time, right? All the time about people who don't think something is racist, they're likely racist. Just like somebody who says that they're not bigoted are likely bigoted, et cetera, et cetera. So here's the example. Where's the fucking money? Somebody asked this question, how do they know that it's $50,000? It's part of a sting, right? That's what you do. When you're investigating something, it's called a sting operation. So he accepted money. That's why it's a bribery investigation. He accepted money, allegedly, but there's audio and video connected to it. He accepted money and in a promise for preferential treatment for government contracts. Okay?
Dollars in the bag, and did you return it?
I'm not giving the story anymore here. This is an attack on my integrity and my professionalism. I'm not addressing it. That's a question with the FBI.
Can you address, given that it's been recorded, did you keep the money? Did you return the money?
I did not keep any. $50,000 is ridiculous. The FBI has been clearing this, and it irritates me. This story keeps going on and on and on, even though I've been found to do nothing inappropriate. So I'm not going to ask any more of these questions.
But just a minute, did you return the money?
I didn't have any money to return.
Okay.
I didn't take the $50,000, bottom line.
Let me ask you, you're saying you did nothing unlawful. Would you be comfortable with the FBI releasing the recordings?
That's a decision of the FBI.
But it might be a decision for the FBI, but would you be comfortable if they released
Again, I'm not getting ahead of the FBI in this investigation.
But can you just say, on a personal level, would you be comfortable releasing the recordings?
I am not going to get ahead of the FBI. That's their decision.
Okay. All right. Mr. Homan, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate it.
I mean, you heard it, right? So it's a real simple solve. It's a real simple solve. You know, the right's going to defend it because that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, where's the money? What's entrapment? No, it's an investigation. That's what you do. You set people up. That's what you do. You put yourself in a position where there's rumors that this guy's selling access, right? Selling preferential treatment, access to government contracts. There's audio and video, allegedly. Ironically, though, there was audio and video present during an investigation within the last year of the Biden administration's DOJ. As soon as Donald Trump takes office, the statement is, where's the statement? The White House has disputed the reporting with press secretaries and spokespeople saying Homan never took the $50,000 you're referring to and portraying the allegations as politically motivated. One way to solve that, is to just release the alleged audio and video. See, this is why control of Congress becomes incredibly important. Because Democrats don't have the ability to subpoena those kinds of things because they'll get shut down by Republicans. It takes cooperation from Republicans. If this information exists, right? If this information exists and it will clear your name, Tom Homan, then release it. It shouldn't be that complicated. It shouldn't be that complicated, right? Tom Homan's statements, Homan has denied taking the $50,000, saying he did nothing criminal. He did nothing illegal. Those are interesting statements in an attempt to create plausible deniability. Oh, cool, gifting's back. Sweet. Saying he did nothing criminal and did nothing illegal. On at least one occasion, he stated, I didn't take $50,000 from anybody. Okay, I guess we'll see about that. A White House statement. White House, again, has disputed the reporting and the press secretaries and spokespeople saying Homan never took the $50,000 you're referring to and portraying the allegations as politically motivated. The encounter led to a federal bribery investigation involving Homan, run out of the U.S. Department of Justice, Integrity Sector, and the FBI. But when Trump returned to the White House, Trump appointed officials in the Justice Department shut down the investigation. Democratic lawmakers, particularly in the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, have pressed for the release of the recordings, questioned why the investigation was closed, and asked what happened to the money. Questions remain in the public discourse about whether the cash was returned, kept, or otherwise disposed of. There's no publicly confirmed outcome on the actual money. There are multiple investigative reports that Homan was recorded accepting $50,000 in cash during an undercover FBI operation. The Justice Department under the Trump administration closed the case and said it found no credible evidence of a crime. Homan and the White House dispute the narrative that he took the money. The incident has drawn ongoing scrutiny from lawmakers and public interest groups. Reuters did a report on this. I think I've got it someplace here. They went a little bit deeper into the story. Tom Homan allegedly accepted a $50,000 bag of cash from an undercover FBI agent last year in 2024, actually, in a since closed U.S. Justice Department bribery investigation. Two sources familiar with the matter had said. In the alleged scheme, Homan promised immigration-related government contracts when he joined the Trump administration in exchange for the money, the sources said, speaking anonymously to discuss non-public investigations. FBI Director Kash Patel ordered the investigation closed over the summer. One of the sources said Homan could not be reached for comment. Quote, this matter originated under the previous administration and was subjected to a full review by FBI agents and Justice Department prosecutors. They found no credible evidence of any criminal wrongdoing. They like to use this term, right? This is an example of manipulation, right? I won't necessarily call this propaganda. It's right on the edge. When they say things like they found no credible evidence of any criminal wrongdoing, what they're attempting to tell you is that there's nothing real here. That somebody is just telling you that there's that this is credible. We found nothing credible. So if they said there is no evidence of criminal wrongdoing, That would be one thing. But to say that there's no credible evidence of criminal wrongdoing, well, audio and video would be credible evidence for sure if it exists. It does exist, allegedly, reported by numerous outlets that it does exist, right? That was announced by Kash Patel and by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Quote, the department's resources must remain focused on real threats to the American people, not baseless investigations. As a result, the investigation has been closed. The probe into Homan started around August of 2024, near the end of President Biden's administration, and stemmed from a separate national security investigation, one of the sources told Reuters. In that unrelated probe, the target repeatedly brought up Homan, saying he was collecting bribes in exchange for future government contracts, the two sources told Reuters. An undercover sting operation was set up, and Homan was caught on a recording accepting a $50,000 bribe in a bag from the restaurant chain Cava, the sources said. We've all seen movies, right, where you meet somebody in a dark alley. There's a bag, a nondescript bag. It gets slid across the table, or it gets handed over, or you're in the backseat of a car and the lights are dim, and there's someone who's in a kind of a very dimly lit camera shop, and then the bag is handed out. This is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about undercover agents. Part of the investigations that they were doing said this guy's been offering government contracts, right? They've been offering government contracts. So we got to figure this shit out. So that's what law enforcement does. That's why you have undercover agents. For people saying he was set up, no, he was investigated for criminality. We've all seen. We are talking about Sasha. Yes, Omega. We're going to get to that. He was investigated. If he did nothing wrong, then why are there allegations? Numerous allegations. You use cash because there's no paper trail. Numerous allegations of this happening. So easy way to solve it, release the audio and video. If it doesn't exist, then it doesn't exist. Okay. Homan oversees the Trump administration's campaign of mass deportations of people in the country illegally. The White House said he has not been involved in awarding any contracts. He is a career law enforcement officer and lifelong public servant who is doing a phenomenal job on behalf of President Trump and the country. Abigail Jackson, White House Deputy Press Secretary, said in a statement. A grand jury probe into Homan in the Western District of Texas, okay, just so you know, was still in its early stages when Trump returned to the White House in January, the sources said. Emil Bove, who was acting deputy AG and is now a federal judge, which is really fucking scary, was briefed on the case in February. One of the sources said, in the exchange, he expressed displeasure with the probe and said it was an example of, quote, a deep state operation. Again, more propaganda. Lean in on things that they know will distract their base. Oh, deep state. Oh, that's it. Deep state. Biden Justice Department. Gotta be corrupt. Deep state. Okay. Referring to the idea that unelected officials secretly control the government. I'm going to pause there for just a moment. That the rights claim that unelected bureaucrats are running the government. Stephen Miller, not elected. Tom Homan, not elected. Peter Thiel, the funders behind all of this bullshit, not elected. So who is the deep state actually? I'm gonna venture a guess and say it's not who you think it is, MAGA. You think it's low-level bureaucrats, Schedule F employees in the federal government, civil servants. Y'all think that's the deep state. Meanwhile, as the deep state is picking your fucking pocket and abusing women and boys, girls and boys, children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, Homan was, called it the statement from Patel and Blanche said the probe was, quote, a blatantly political investigation and yet another example of how the Biden Department of Justice was using its resources to target President Trump's allies. Homan was an official at U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement under President Barack Obama and its acting director under Trump's first term. During Trump's 4 years out of power, Homan ran a consulting business to help companies obtain immigration-related government contracts. That's what he was doing. He was doing this shit before he became a member of the Trump administration. He ran a consulting business to help companies obtain immigration-related government contracts. So as a consultant, that's what I do for work, right? I will align my clients with some of the companies and organizations that will benefit them. I'm not taking bags of cash to do it. I'm not. Again, Mr. Homan, if there's nothing to see here, then just allow the tapes to be released. It shouldn't be that complicated. I think that's it for the story. Oh, yeah. In the recorded sting operation, Homan claimed that he would keep the bribe money in a trust until he had completed his service in the Trump administration, one of the sources said. Not long after the meeting, when he criticized the Homan probe, both separately ordered corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams to be dropped, prompting career prosecutors to resign. The Justice Department has also largely dismantled the unit that prosecutes corruption cases, which took part in the Homan probe. Well, okay. It's funny because on, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Nikki Glaser hosted the Golden Globes the other night, and this was a great moment for her. I thought this was kind of funny, so I'll play this for you. Hang on one second. Speaking of the Department of Justice, here you go.
Best editing goes to the...
Hold on a second. It's just not loading. Give me 1 second here. Sorry. Okay, here you go. So the Golden Globe for best editing is what she says.
For best editing goes to the Justice Department. Yes, congratulations. And the award for most editing goes to CBS News. Yes. CBS News, America's newest place to see BS News. We needed another.
Ouch. Ouch. So, Mr. Homan, again, I'd like to get some explaining. It should not be controversial. It really shouldn't. It really shouldn't be controversial. But again, what about Biden? So this is one of those moments, right, where the frustration for me in many situations like this is the blatant hypocrisy, right? If you MAGA supporters and people who voted for Donald Trump and support what's happening, if you truly care about fraud, if you truly care about corruption, if you truly care about rooting out members of the deep state, then it should be easy for you. In fact, easier for you than it should be for us. Just stand up and say, well, if these tapes exist, then just where are they? Instead, you're told it's not credible. You're told it's a deep state plot. You're told Tom Homan did nothing wrong. You're told that he didn't take $50,000. The other side says there's an investigation into this, right? There's an investigation. We caught him red-handed. There is audio and there is video. So you should be saying, right, if audio and video does exist, then just let us see it. Right? Why? What is so wrong with that? So again, AOC just reminding us that budget money that's being cut from your healthcare. So I was thinking about this morning as I was literally paying $1,100 that I did not have for health insurance this morning. I was thinking about that. I just funded a couple ICE officers' salary for a few days because money that was cut for my subsidies and 27 million other Americans' subsidies are going to pay for ICE. That's got to make you feel real good, right? So when your premium costs are going up, MAGA, when some people that you know can't afford healthcare anymore, that's what's happening. So I'm not sure if you heard about this story, speaking of ICE, but the gentleman you're going to hear from is a pastor, okay? A religious man, MAGA. This is what he had to say.
An ICE agent literally came over to me and said, "What did you say?" I said, "I am not afraid." And they pointed a gun in my face. ICE put handcuffs on my hands and put me in a black SUV. And then a few moments later, they came back and they said, "Are you afraid yet?" And I said, "No." And then they said it. "Well, you're white. You wouldn't be fun anyway." It was then that I knew that this staging, that these ICE raids are really about fear and intimidation.
The video. So the question then that I would ask our friends on the right, is the pastor, the religious man, lying? Are you just going to say that he must be just a liberal? Or he talks funny? So can we not take his word for it? So an ICE officer walks up to him, puts a gun in his face, and said, "You're white, you're no fun anyway." And as a reminder, 35 people lost their life in ICE detention in 2025. It's the most in 20 years. Assault against people in custody, 18 confirmed incidences of assault against pregnant women, 11 site assaults against minor children. Examples of sexual assault and abuse. A teenager had his testicles stomped on. That's all fake, right? That's all fake. All of it is. And now we can't believe a pastor, a religious man, a man of God, who in this imagery, he's got his collar on. Can't believe that, right? Fake news. Okay, just making sure. All right. For those of you that are just joining us today, thank you for being here. I'm Steve. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Excuse me. We go live every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till noon Eastern time, and an occasional Friday night. We call it Facts After Dark. If you'd like to support the channel, a few ways you can do that. You can, first of all, complete your daily tasks. There's a gifting goal today. We are crowdfunded. If you want to support our channel, the best way to do that is through the various things that exist in cyberspace, and they're all at Factsstillmatter. I appreciate you guys very, very much. All right, and we are going to cover. There's new reporting. So I'm going to try to set this up, and I'll get into the specifics later. There's a woman by the name of Lisa Noel Volding. It's Voldeng. She has a Substack account, and she interviewed a person by the name of Sasha Riley. And this name has been circulating around the cyberspace. A decorated Iraqi war veteran who was part of this, I don't know how else to describe it other than a Trump-Epstein coordinated criminal enterprise involving the abuse and, in some cases, murder of young women and girls, boys, children. We'll get into it. I'm going to try to be I'm going to be sensitive to the fact that I understand people are, I don't want to trigger anybody. I don't want to induce trauma, but we have to talk about this. So before I get into that, there's additional reporting that has come out recently about an incident involving a former employee at a Trump golf club. And I want to share this story because it just kind of relates to all the things that we talk about. This is being reported by numerous news outlets. So Trump club accused of humiliating workers with tight uniforms. The story came out yesterday. It's being reported by NewJersey.com, The Daily Beast, all kinds of news agencies have this. A former MAGA loyalist says she turned her back on Donald Trump after enduring rampant and humiliating sexual harassment at his Trump National Golf Club in New Jersey. Maria Hadley, an events team member and banquet server at the Bedminster property, alleged in a lawsuit filed in New Jersey court on Monday that female employees were forced to wear revealing uniforms several sizes too small. Meanwhile, men in positions of power at the resort tried to get underage female staffers drunk, fawned over, quote, sexy teenagers, and retaliated against employees who spoke out, according to the lawsuit obtained by the Daily Beast. 79-year-old president and his son, Eric, are both named in court filings detailing a toxic culture at the $350,000 a year membership New Jersey club. Hadley, a Trump voter who was hired, she voted for Trump 3 times. A Trump voter who was hired in February is suing Trump National for sexual discrimination and harassment. Quote, I did not want the president that I believed in and voted for each time he ran to be, I did not want the president that I believe in and voted for each time he ran to be shown in a bad light or lose face. Hadley wrote in an unanswered message to Eric Trump on September the 27th. I am absolutely incensed, she said. It marks the second lawsuit in just over a month to ensnare Trump and his second oldest son over alleged conditions at the Bedminster property, both of which were first reported by the Daily Beast. The Bedminster Club, which has two 18-hole golf courses, promotes itself as, quote, family-oriented. Whether you are looking for premier New Jersey golf, an exceptional wedding venue, or an ideal family retreat, Trump Bedminster has it all, the club's website reads. In her lawsuit, Hadley details a far darker experience. Hadley, who graduated from the Mildred Ely Business School in 1994, said it was immediately clear when she was hired that she, quote, walked into a workplace that treated women as nothing but a prop, according to the suit, which was filed by attorneys at McCumber, and Luber PC. She said the polo shirt and golf skirt that she was instructed to wear were both far too small and way too tight. When she told club manager Patricio Nera, who was also named as a defendant, that he had given her a child's size, he refused to replace them and allegedly told her, if they don't fit, you don't work. Hadley said it was humiliating being forced to work in an inappropriate, revealing clothing until another female employee secretly swapped uniforms with her. Hadley also recounted multiple instances in which management referred to teenage guests as, quote, sexy, as well as repeated occasions when Nera mocked a male employee for being a, quote, homosexual, and grabbed his subordinate by his head and held it near his own genitals, according to the suit. She also alleged the clubhouse bartender served alcohol to minors and, quote, made sexual comments about 12-year-old guests with braces. There's a text thread. Vodka in a Shirley Temple? What? Oh my God, what in the world? Yes, he always makes me a dirty Shirley if I walk away and not watch him make it. Great. Can't wait for the 5-year-old to get that. Get some rest. I will calm to you later. I'm like, Raj, I didn't want vodka in this. And he's like, it will give you energy. These are texts between Hadley, the person named in this suit, and underage Bedminster employees who said that the bartender repeatedly added alcohol to her drinks. When he makes me Shirley Temples, I literally have to tell him with Sprite. And if I walk away and come back, there's vodka always in it. Management turned against Hadley in June, she alleged, after she reported the bartender for repeatedly serving female staffers alcohol without their consent. A fireable offense, she was told, would remain anonymous. Instead, the bartender allegedly learned within hours that Hadley had reported him, after which she says male supervisors began retaliating against her. In one instance cited in the lawsuit, Hadley said Trump once visited the clubhouse and told employees they would each receive a $1,000 bonus, specifically looking at her, as she described it, when he made the announcement. The bonuses were ultimately distributed to every employee except Hadley. Her hours were later cut in half. Male coworkers refused to speak to her or acknowledge her. And when she attempted to raise concerns, she said human resources repeatedly looked the other way, the suit alleges. The situation deteriorated to the point that Hadley said she was hospitalized twice and ultimately resigned. Quote, defendants targeted Ms. Hadley because she refused to tolerate pervasive gender discrimination, sexual harassment, and serious legal and safety violations that put employees and customers at risk. The Daily Beast has reached out to the Trump Organization, Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, and NARA for comment. The White House declined and referred the Daily Beast back to the Trump Organization. The lawsuit adds to a growing list of sexual harassment allegations tied to Trump's Bedminster property. On December the 19th, former clubhouse manager Justine Sachs filed a similar lawsuit, alleging she was forced out after flagging serious health violations and sexual harassment to human resources. She also claimed that Eric Trump ignored her complaints. In November of 2023, Alice Bianco, a former server at the club, alleged she was sexually harassed and coerced into sex by her manager, then tricked into signing an illegal non-disclosure agreement by the Trump attorney Alina Habba, who later served as the acting U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey until a federal appeals court disqualified her last month. Habba herself quickly settled a lawsuit from a former employee who made her out to be racist, insensitive boss in 2022, the Daily Beast exclusively reported at the time. The Bedminster Golf Club is held under the Donald Trump Revocable Trust, a legal structure that allows the president to continue earning income from the property while in office. But he gave up his paycheck, right, MAGA? Cool. Trump has long been a frequent visitor to the club. He spent roughly 100 days at Bedminster during his first term, and then later buried his ex-wife Ivana near the first hole after her death in 2022. The president has reportedly spent about a quarter of his second term so far at one of his golf clubs, costing taxpayers an estimated $115 million in 2025, according to Trump Golf Tracker. Anybody want to have that conversation about fraud, waste, abuse? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone in the back? Any of the usual trolls that are in here? How come you're not talking about Minnesota fraud? Sure, let's have that conversation and we can talk about Amy Bach, right? Talk about how she was a fucking ringleader. She had to turn in her high-powered sports car for the money that she made. Anybody want to talk about that? Anybody want to talk about this? No? Anybody? Anyone? Anyone still feel like Donald Trump, there's no way Trump would be involved in any of this? Anybody? No? Don't want to talk about your taxpayer dollars to the tune of $115 million? $115 million in taxpayer dollars, your taxpayer dollars, going to fund Trump golf trips. Anybody? Anyone? Feel like having that conversation? Do we not believe any of those women? Can we not make these, can we not just draw the connections to just about everything? I mean, there were numerous sexual assault claims against him when he, in Trump Tower. Mar-a-Lago. Right. Found liable in a court of law for literally grabbing E. Jean Carroll by the pussy. Digitally penetrating her vagina forcibly, deliberately. But again, that's all fake, right? Of course, he would not be involved in any of this. Of course, he would not be part of or the name on the door of Bedminster where all these claims, lawsuits filed, he himself and his son named as defendants. But all that's fake, right? Have you ever asked yourself, MAGA, have you ever asked yourself this question? Now, we could all sit here objectively and say, if there was one accusation, we could say, okay, there's one accusation. We've not heard of anything else. I'm still going to believe the victims and the survivors, but there's one. There are hundreds. There are literally hundreds of accusations. And in some cases, civil settlements. And in some cases, adjudication and civil jury verdicts. Is all of it fake? Is all of it fake? Every single thing? All these, Katie Johnson, is that all fake? Maria Farmer, is that fake? Virginia Giuffre, is that fake? All the names connected to this? Sasha Riley? If you've not heard about this yet, I'll give you trigger warnings in advance. You will not offend me if you have to leave. I get it. So is all of it fake? Are all of these things made up? Is all of this weaponization against Trump? All of it? Do you think some of it might be true? Or is none of it true? So if some of it's true, isn't that enough for you? I know it's not. I know it's not, but sorry. I didn't, Ash, you could ignore that. I didn't mean to, I hit the wrong button.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I just wanted to give you a little bit of information.
Out a vehicle earlier.
You've got a lot of background noise.
Is that better?
That's better, yes.
Sorry about that. So about the Tom Homan story, the first thing the Trump administration did, I work in federal contracting. The first thing they did was overwrite announce an override of the FAR. Are you familiar with the FAR?
The FAR?
Mm-hmm.
Is it an acronym? No, I'm not. Go ahead.
Yes,
You can tell us.
so it's called the Federal Acquisition Regulations. It's the Bible of how to award contracts. It tells you exactly
government contracts. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yes, it tells you exactly how to go about the process of awarding contracts to who you can't award them to. The first thing the Trump administration did was announce that they were entirely rewriting it, and they threw a lot of the guardrails out the door. So it makes it a lot easier for people to award them in not the correct way. So I just wanted to throw that information out to you. You can...
Okay. Sure. Yeah, that tracks. Jeez. Wow. So we're going to rewrite the rules mid-investigation, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you. Nothing surprises me anymore, right? So it's funny. I just saw somebody comment on this. I've seen what I can only assume, based on profile pictures and based on username, that there are Trump supporting women in here that are saying all these women are lying. So all of them are lying? Every single one? Every single woman or girl that's made an accusation against Donald Trump, every single one of them is lying? They're all lying? Everyone? Every single one of the women are lying? And based on numbers, what's the number? 1 in 3 women are assaulted? Isn't that the number? 1 in 3? So if 6 MAGA women are in the chat here, that would mean 2 of you, based on the numbers, were assaulted. Were you lying? Have you thought about that? Were you concerned when someone didn't believe you? Because that was the case in many cases. That's why women don't report. Exactly, you're right, Becca. That report. You see? So did people believe you when you told your story? Were you lying? There's a reason Donald Trump didn't release his tax returns. There's a reason we don't have his entire health history. There's a reason that they hid economic numbers from you in October and November. There's a reason that the entire Epstein files have not been released. There's a reason that our last guest just came up here that they changed the rules to protect Tom Homan. But again, are all those things fake? Because that's basically what you're saying. You're saying that however many, there's 25 allegations against Donald Trump, many of them settled in civil court. Right? Bragging on the Access Hollywood tape about grabbing women by the pussy. And wow, wouldn't you know, so many examples of him doing just that. But that's a lie too? Those are all lies? Because that is what you're saying. Every time we hear another allegation against him, and every time we hear another court case, because these are court cases that they've been filed, right? Court cases that have been filed, naming him, Eric, and a bartender, of why, again, giving underage girls vodka, a dirty Shirley as they call it, calling teenagers sexy. Are those all made up too? Because that's what you're telling yourself. So when you go home at night and you deal with the trauma, I'll say this. I am mortified that something happened to you. It's absolutely horrible. It is all men until it's no men. But you are in a position to tell someone, did they believe you? If they didn't believe you, right? Can you understand then why when we report on these stories of other women and girls in many cases being assaulted, you're choosing not to believe them. That for some reason in your mind, it's that, well, I was assaulted, but those, and boys too, exactly. I was assaulted, but those girls, women are lying. You see? See how wild that is? You see how crazy and hypocritical that is? Hi, Heather.
Good morning, Steve. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I've got you.
I was going to say just that the reason why so many people believe that the women are lying is because they just think they want fame and clout, and they also just have a hard time. I think it's the empathy thing. I think they can't empathize with people anymore. I think as a society, we have lost empathy. And even especially MAGA women have lost empathy for other women. They can only experience what they feel. They can't experience what.
Stay close to the phone, Heather. Stay close to the phone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have my headphone in. Hold on, let me take that out. Let me just take that out so you can hear me better. Is that better, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's the lack of empathy. They can't experience what other people. They can't put themselves in somebody else's shoe anymore. No one can empathize. MAGA can't empathize with people, and we see it in what we see with the JE files. We see it with what's happening with this story. We see what with Renee Good. We see it with everything. They cannot empathize with people anymore.
You're right. Yeah, even though it happened to themselves, they're still going to deny it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And exactly, even though it's happening to themselves, and it's the same reason why, like, even though we've talked about this before, you know, how it's not that they vote against themselves, they vote to uphold themselves in the patriarchal society, to uphold white supremacy. That's why they vote. Yep. And it's all very selfish. It's all very selfish. And I think it's very frustrating for me because as somebody who experiences empathy on a deep and personal level, and somebody who works, you know, I'm a mental health nurse. This is what I do. And I work with children, and most of the kids that I work with have experienced major abuse, sexual abuse. I don't know how anyone could just be like, yep, they're lying. And especially because a lot of these MAGA women were children themselves when they experienced it. But it's the lack of empathy.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah. Thanks for jumping in today, Heather. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Be safe out there, okay? You got it. Take care.
You too.
Yeah, I mean, again, just reading these stories, you know, it's just like just watching some of the comments go by as she's talking. You know, I spent a lot of time yesterday, and I'm just getting started by calling out white people, especially white men. I am just getting started. So if you're fragile, dude, buckle the fuck up. It's all I can tell you. But here's women in the comments that they're liars. And again, I'll say this based on the statistics, it's 1 in 3. 1 in 3 women in our country are assaulted. I'm not sure if that's globally. 1 in 3, which means that likely, I mean, we've asked this question before. The majority of people that I speak to daily, the people that join us, the people that are part of our community, have been assaulted. So that would mean that women in here that are commenting, that calling these other women liars, were assaulted themselves. What is wrong with you, people? What is wrong with you? Again, it could be more. 1 in 5 men, 1 in 3 women. And you know what? The assaults against men, you know who they're perpetrated by? White dudes. you just sit there. And I think Heather was right. There's just even something that happened to yourself because you've been indoctrinated and you've been propagandized. You yourself have been a victim and it's survivor. Again, it's horrible that it happened to you. It's absolutely fucking horrible that it happened to you. And you could have your MAGA hat and you could have your pterodactyl flag wrapped around you and you could be driving in your decked out Trump vehicle and you could walk up to me dressed like that and you could say, I was assaulted. And you know what I would do? I would believe you. I would believe you. And I would offer you as much kindness and support and empathy and understanding as I possibly could. But a liberal woman would walk up to you and say that Donald Trump assaulted me, you wouldn't believe her? Because that's what you're saying. that is what you're saying. I just would like you to think about that for a second. Sit in your space. Hear the stories of other victims and survivors. Before we get into our show, more topics here. We've got BLS summary data. Consumer prices rose in December by 0.3%. So there you go, MAGA. CPI numbers are up. What did you vote for again, exactly? You're going to call that a liberal hoax? This comes from your labor department. Up 0.3% in December. And we're up 2.7% from a year earlier. What do you want to do about that? Nothing to see here, though, right? You'll find some way to spin it. You'll say it's the best 0.3% increase ever. Or something. So I'm going to read this. I have to read a statement from the president. I'm not going to use the comical voice because it's too serious. From the president on True Social just a little while ago. Do the people of Minnesota really want to live in a community in which there are thousands of already convicted murderers, schmug dealers, and addicts, rapists, and violent released and escaped prisoners, dangerous people from foreign mental institutions and insane asylums, and other deadly criminals too dangerous to even mention? All the patriots of ICE want to do is remove them from your neighborhood and send them back to the prisons and mental institutions from where they came, most in foreign countries who illegally entered the USA through Sleepy Joe Biden's horrible open borders policy. Every place we go, crime comes down. In Chicago, despite a weak and incompetent governor and mayor fighting us all the way, a big improvement was made. Thousands of criminals were removed. Minnesota Democrats love the unrest that anarchists and professional agitators are causing because it gets the spotlight off of the $19 billion that was stolen by really bad and deranged people. Fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming. President of the United States, a 37-year-old mother, wife, citizen, was gunned down in cold blood, lost her life, and not once has the president said anything about her. No condolences. No, I'm sorry that happened. No, we are going to investigate this. Nope. Not one bit. In fact, he said this. See if I can find it. He said, where is it? Hang in there. I'll find it. Everybody keep tapping, please. Appreciate you all. Sorry, I have a lot of clips. We're going to talk about Mark Kelly's response. Mark Kelly is suing Pete Hegseth. Jerome Powell is being investigated. It's just one thing after the other. Do I not have that anymore? Maybe I lost that sound. Anyway, the president said that the reason that it was justified is that because they were basically being mean. She was basically being mean to ICE officers. Okay, that's fine. Nothing to see here. All right, I'll bring up Gen X Warrior. Good morning, friend. How are you? Hello. Hi.
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
doing?
Whoops. Yeah, good. Sorry.
all right.
I was just like organizing some stuff. Sorry. Hey, sorry for crashing out yesterday. Just a little emotional day. So things were good. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Yes. So there's a and not to like promote another creator, but he goes by Auntie Jace. He's a Native American. He's on early in the morning and he lives in Minneapolis. And just wow. I mean, our country, I don't know how, I was just, listening to you and thinking, how can we survive another 3 years of this crap? It's just.
It's not about surviving. We're going to fight back.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
That's defeatist because what you just said is defeatist. And we
can't
let that happen. That's what they want, right?
Well, I mean, surviving, hey, I just survived the last 2 years and I'm thriving again. So there's that. But no, I agree with you. But let's remind, MAGA that ICE, they are public officials, and any public official, whether it's your local, city, county, state, federal, privacy laws don't apply to them. Okay. So, I don't know, Christy Nome was saying, oh, because they'll get doxxed. Well, you know what? They took that job. They don't get to wear masks.
Sure.
Period.
Correct.
Okay? Period.
Correct.
You were talking about federal contractors. I put into the chat earlier. So I'm a corporate HR recruiter in my day job. I've been doing it for over a decade. I absolutely love it. And during the course of my last job search, I'm back to work. There were a ton of talent acquisition positions specifically requiring experience for federal contractors. There were a ton of them on LinkedIn when I was looking. I saw that and I'm like, well, I don't have experience. So I'm not surprised with all of this stuff. Thermo Fisher Scientific, they're based here in Pittsburgh. That's kind of crazy. It's just nuts. I mean, but I wanted to address MAGA women. And like I stated yesterday, give me until 2027, I will be starting my coaching business. Trauma-informed abuse recovery coaching, specializing in abusive litigation. My degree is in criminal justice. So MAGA ladies, when you come to my coaching, I will be asking you questions. And I could tell immediately if you're going to be, one of those red hats. I will never discriminate against you, but I will give you some very, very, very tough love. Because if you think this can happen to you, guess what? You are already being abused because you are a pick-me. You need this masculine alpha male. What about Biden? Hillbilly.
Correct.
No offense to like our redneck friends here, but you crave that male energy. You crave it. So you already are being abused, honey. Because if you weren't, it's because of women like me. It's women like us we're liberal, that you have the right to vote. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Thanks, Steve. Love you guys.
Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you. See you later. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tiff. I found the sound for the statement. Again, the question was asked about Trump on Renee Good. Okay, here you go. This is what he had to say. This is an American citizen, a U.S. citizen, smile on her face, raising her family. Okay. And Maggie, I want you to hear this specifically. The President of the United States said this about Renee Good.
At a very minimum, that woman was very, very disrespectful to law enforcement. And you heard the same noises. You saw the same crunch that I saw. You can't do that with law enforcement, whether it's police or ICE or Border Patrol or anybody else.
When it comes to ICE officials,
very disrespectful to law enforcement. Really? Really? And as we discussed a bit yesterday, it's fine because we've got numerous videos of ICE using their vehicles to run down people. We've seen it happen. People having to jump on the hood, falling off the side. We've got ICE now pointing firearms at pastors. Right? Where is your outrage? See, this is the problem because, in particular, mediocre, I'm going to cool the jets a little bit here. Mediocre white men, mediocre at best on their best day, who are Trump supporters, you motherfucking cowards, celebrate this shit because women won't pick you. So anytime a woman is diminished or assaulted, you're thinking the same thing that Jonathan Ross said. Fucking bitch. That's what you think. You get off on this shit. You fucking celebrate it. You fucking cheer it on. Could have been your own kid. Could have been your own daughter. You'd find a way to blame her. Your daughter could come home from prom and say, I was assaulted. And then you would say, well, look at the dress you're wearing. Or she would not tell you in fear that you wouldn't believe her. And you're totally fine defending someone who literally took the life of an American citizen on the streets of Minneapolis. You're fine with that. It was justified. But as soon as we bring up anything else, as soon as we bring up Ashley Babbitt, that's a different circumstance. You'll go 10 toes down in defense of anybody who makes an assault or an attack on law enforcement because that law enforcement officer might have felt that their life was in jeopardy. Okay, but you're totally fucking fine with cops being beat up within inches of their lives on January 6th, assaulted. Pepper spray, bear spray, fire extinguishers, flagpoles, crutches, batons, etc. You're totally fine with that, though. Nothing to see here. Okay. Okay, good to know. Just want to make sure I got that clarified. I think we should play this sound because there's a New York Times story that came out. See, this is the thing. See what I mean? This is the problem. This is the problem with people. And you post a comment like this. Somebody take a look at Two Thumbs' profile picture. I should explain a lot. Summer of 2020 was okay, though. See, the difference between us and people like you, Two Thumbs, is that we can call out criminal activity. And if you bothered to read this instead of being in the cult that you're in, you would understand that the overwhelming majority of the protests that happened in 2020 were peaceful. When you sprinkle in the Boogaloo Boys and other right-wing agitators and the violence escalated, you're totally fine with Kyle Rittenhouse driving to another state with his AR and using it to take the lives of individuals. You're totally fine in that. That's justified in your fucking mind, you pathetic piece of shit. You're fine with that. Summer of 2020 was okay, though. You're fine with all of that because that supports your narrative. As long as women continue to get assaulted, no issue. As long as brown and black people continue to get assaulted, no issue. But goodness gracious, the city of Portland being burned down, Minneapolis being burned to the ground, you're angry about that because it's black people that were involved, right? Black people who've been diminished in our society since there was a society. Rights being taken away at every fucking turn. You're totally fine with that, though, aren't you? But you're not racist. No, of course not. Of course not. Okay, this was an interesting interview. This happened on January 7th. So this was within just a couple of hours after Renee Good was brutally murdered in cold blood on an American street. New York Times was interviewing Donald Trump for a soon-to-be-released article, and just some of the things that he says in this interview should give everyone pause. Here you go.
On your power on the world stage, is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing: my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop, and that's very good. I don't need international law. I'm not looking to hurt people.
Do you feel your administration?
Okay, I'm going to pause there real quick. So he said that international law, I don't need international law. I don't care about international law. So Will Cain on his show said this.
International law isn't real. It's never even pretended to be real when it comes to real world action. Only in words and only in debate halls, only in chambers at the United Nations. No, the real world exists by the law of the jungle. And I have no problem with that reality. You can't live by a fiction that no one else buys or lives by. You can't live in Neverland if no one else will join you in Neverland. And so I'm not here to hear about anything being illegal, not by the standard of international law, and not even by the constitutional constraints of the executive power of the United States of America. Forewarning Congress, forewarning the Senate, a congressional declaration of war, while something that I think is or should be the standard course of business in the United States, has long since expired. When's the last time you saw Congress convene to actually declare war?
Interesting, right? So the law-abiding MAGA front, the constitutionalists, those that say we're all about law and order, fuck the law. Fuck it. I don't need the fucking law. That was Will Cain on the Will Cain show. Fuck it. Who needs the fucking law? International law? Fuck that. Geneva Convention? Fuck that. International laws, U.S. laws? Fuck that. I don't need the law. Fuck that. My own morals will stop me. Okay. I was on a live yesterday afternoon. I've been really distracted lately, just not in a good space, but so it's been hard to work. But I was in this live yesterday, and this gentleman who used to be a bounty hunter, apparently, said that he doesn't give a shit. We were discussing, as I want to do, I'm pressing them on certain things. We were talking about the DOJ use of force policy and how it mirrored other federal law enforcement agencies. And he said this. I'm not going to quote it exactly, but paraphrasing. Yeah, when I was a bounty hunter, I didn't really give a shit about the rules and regulations. Yeah, Woodward was there. Thank you for being there, Woodward. You were there. You saw it. I'm not lying about that, am I, Woodward? You were there. Again, these are the people. These people vote. These people vote, right? So he literally said, yeah, I was in Vietnam. I was a private investigator. I was a bounty hunter, but I don't give a shit about rules and regulations, so I'm the wrong person to ask. Apparently the president doesn't care about the law either. Neither does Will Cain. He doesn't care about the law. Right? Okay. Those people, though, are the ones that are all about law and order. They want to get the criminals locked up, but yet they're the criminals. They want to go after the child trafficking rings, but yet they're part of the child trafficking rings. They want to protect women and girls, but yet they're the ones overwhelmingly that are committing crimes against women and girls. Okay. So back to this interview.
Needs to abide by international law on the global stage.
Yeah, I do. I do. But it depends what your definition of international law is. You mean in Greenland?
That's
because you needed that at the time.
In the 1951 agreement, though, it says the United States can reopen these bases anytime you want. You can send as many troops as you want, and you haven't done it. How come?
Because I want to do it properly.
And properly means own it?
Really, it is. To me, it's ownership.
So what he's referring to is that we have a treaty with Greenland, very comprehensive treaty. And the reporter's right. We literally have bases in Greenland. We can occupy those bases. We can send as many troops there as we want. That is the treaty made with Greenland and Denmark. So why the fuck do we need to take it? Okay.
Yep. Ownership is very important,
Why is ownership important here?
Because it's what I feel is psychologically needed for success. I think that ownership...
What? Okay.
Gives you a thing that you can't do, whether you're talking about a lease or a treaty. Ownership gives you things and elements that you can't get from just signing a document that you can have a base.
So,
do you see...
That's the man behind the Resolute desk. Right? So there's a little bit more to that interview. I'm going to play some additional sound from it because there's some things that are just very revealing to me. Here's one.
Running Venezuela?
Only time will tell.
Like 3 months, 6 months, a year, longer?
I would say much longer than that.
Much longer.
And we have to...
So you heard that, MAGA, right? You heard that. How long are we going to be running Venezuela? Could be much longer than that. Do you really think there's not going to be boots on the ground? Wasn't the entire issue, you law and order enthusiasts, you constitutional protectors, you defender of women's rights, new war folks, you understand that if we put boots on the ground, that would be active military engagement. Now you're suddenly fine with that? Oh, it's not a war, though. Well, we haven't been in a war by definition because Congress hasn't declared war since World War II. So what would you call everything else since then? You want to walk up to an Iraqi veteran or a veteran of Afghanistan or Somalia or wherever it might be and tell them that you weren't at war? Tell you what, you pussy-ass bitch MAGA men, volunteer. Put your fucking hand up. Take the oath. You're too scared, soft, and weak. You would never do that. You're fucking cowards, every one of you. You're so pathetically coward that you have to live your life through someone else. Send your kid. Tell your son to go down there and sign up. Volunteer right now. Carry the family name. Okay.
Rebuild. You have to rebuild the country, and we will rebuild it in a very profitable way.
Oh, you hear that? Yeah.
We're going to be using oil, and we're going to be taking oil. We're getting oil prices down, and we're going to be giving money to Venezuela, which they desperately need.
Oh, we're going to give money to Venezuela now? That they desperately need? I'm sorry. 25 million people just lost access to affordable health care. Mortgage bankruptcies are up at levels that mirror the Great Recession in 2008, 2009. Families are literally living less than paycheck to paycheck, and we're just going to give more money to Venezuela? Okay.
What would trigger a decision to send ground troops into Venezuela?
I wouldn't want to tell you that because, I can't give up information like that to a reporter as good as you may be. I just can't talk about that.
Would you do it if you couldn't get at the oil? Would you do it if...
They're treating us with great respect, as you know. We're getting along very well with the administration.
Have you noticed, I know you guys have noticed this because you guys are the smartest chat on TikTok, but everything to him is about whether or not someone shows him respect in his mind. So the world is like, this guy is fucking stupid. He is a malignant narcissist. All we got to do is give him the virtual hand job and we'll get whatever we want. If you respect me, I'll give you what you want. If you say nice things about me, if you stroke it, then I'll give you whatever you want. Okay.
Is there right now?
Have you spoken to Delcy Rodriguez?
I don't want to comment on that, no. But Marco speaks to her all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one.
You promised $2,000 checks.
But what they're talking about, this particular segment, they're talking about the $2,000 checks.
To Americans based off of your tariff revenues. When can
I did do that.
He's asking the question, I did do that? Oh, yeah. Did I promise people are going to get $2,000 checks? So, MAGA, again, I'm just going to remind you, you were promised a Doge check. Did you get it? Did you get your Doge check? I didn't get it. But again, MAGA, because you guys are so afraid of the boogeyman that is socialism, if you got that check from the government, you would send it back anyway, right? Right? So you should join the Democrats because we get our Soros money on time every single month. Every single month. We always get it on time. You all got your Soros checks on time, right? Why can't you guys get your own president who promises you all the money? Where's your Doge check? Where is it? How come you didn't get that? And now the president's like, wait a minute. I promised I was going to give people $2,000 checks? Oh, that's weird. Here it is again.
When did I do that?
Well, you're
Yeah, I'm thinking, I did 1776 for the military, right?
When will those Americans get those checks?
Well, I am going to. The tariff money is so substantial that's coming in that I'll be able to do 2,000 sometime, I would say, toward the end of the year.
Oh, okay. So towards the end of the year. Okay.
I believe she's a very dishonest person.
Talking about
who's done a lot of very bad things.
To be clear, though.
Including the marriage of her brother, which is
not proven.
Unusual. Well, I think it's been proven.
No,
right?
it's not.
Everything I've read has been proven.
Completely unfounded, I believe.
Wait, I don't know why you people stick up for this.
I just want to.
I think it's been proven.
I just want to clarify here, just to get at the policy.
Do you focus on? Do you focus on?
I've written about your immigration policy for some years.
I mean, are you mostly on immigration?
Broadly, but I want to get to the question here. Just the policy here seems you are considering stripping the citizenship of citizens of Somali descent. Is that right?
Sure, I would. I'd do it in a heartbeat if they were dishonest.
If they're dishonest.
At the same time, hold it. You like Red Bear?
Peepaw's got his phone.
Red. I'm being interviewed by David Sanger and a group of the most brilliant people that you're Katie Rogers, a group of the most brilliant people you've ever seen.
Okay, by the way, MAGA, just so you know, I just want to make sure you understand this. The New York Times, when he goes out and stands behind the podium or at a rally, he calls it a trash publication. And you all do too. Like when I cite the New York Times because of their investigative journalism, you always tell me, yeah, that's a fake liberal rag. Well, he just called them some of the most brilliant reporters in the business. Interesting.
I've actually agreed to an interview with the New York Times. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
So they only treat me badly, but, I won in a landslide, so I guess it can't be that important. What? All right. Okay, I'll talk to you later. You take care, okay?
Okay, you take care, Brett.
Mr. President.
Kiss, kiss. That's your guy, MAGA. That's your boy. That's your boy. I've got a little bit more I want to play on this because I think then we're going to get into Stephen Miller. Then we're going to spend the last 2 hours of the show today talking about Sasha Riley. Where is it? This right here. Okay, this is Minnesota. This is your president. This is the stable genius. Okay, I want you to listen to this.
For you. The state officials there have said that the FBI is not sharing evidence with them. Typically, they would conduct a joint investigation, as you know. Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis and Minnesota, what a beautiful place, but it's being destroyed. It's got an incompetent governor, fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be $19 billion stolen from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote. They sell more Mercedes-Benzes in that area than almost. Can you imagine? You come over with no money, and then shortly thereafter you're driving a Mercedes-Benz. The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt people. It's a very corrupt state. I feel that I won Minnesota. I think I won it all 3 times. Right. Nobody's won it since Richard Nixon won it many years ago. I won it all 3 times, in my opinion. And it's a corrupt state, a corrupt voting state. And the Republicans ought to get smart and demand on voter ID. They ought to demand maybe same-day voting and all of the other things that you have to have a safe election. Got it. But I won Minnesota 3 times and I didn't get credit for it. Okay. I did so well in that state every time. The people were crying every time after. That's a crooked state. California's a crooked state. Many crooked states. We have a very, very Isn't
it funny that just the states that he lost are the ones that are crooked? Interesting.
Honest voting system.
Wild, right? Interesting. So just the states that he lost are crooked. He went to, yeah, you're right. He went to, I feel, to I definitely won it. Okay, that's fine. In that same session that he was sitting around with cabinet members, he actually, remember that? You might have seen the video where he literally got up and just walked to the back window just to look out the window. Right? Yeah. Since he wants to call out blue states, right? The states that have the best education, the states that have the best health care, the states that have the most, that contribute the most to the GDP, the states that have the lowest incidence of violent crime, the states that have the lowest incidence of crime against women per capita, the states that have the economic engine, the states that are the smartest, that have the highest education standards, those that contribute the most to the federal government to pay for red states, those states, I say we just shut the fucking door. Let the fucking red states fend for themselves. The problem is that those red states are led by a bunch of pussy-ass bitch white men who have never accomplished anything in their fucking sorry lives. But, yeah. So since he was talking about Minnesota so graphically, let's talk about Tennessee for a second, shall we? You're going to hear some sound from Tennessee Republican Tennessee Rep Jason Zachary. Okay? He's talking about, well, here you go.
Publicly, but one of the primary objectives in the session that we're getting ready to start, and you're going to see this out of the gate, is the state of Tennessee has been working with the White House for about the last 6 weeks. Our speaker has been at the White House numerous times. He has been working with Stephen Miller, and they have asked Tennessee to go first. And we're going to be proposing a slate of legislation to go after illegal immigration. And the president's behind us, and we are being told Tennessee will go first. This is coming from Stephen Miller, the White House, with us. We had a leadership meeting about 4 or 5 weeks ago with the Senate and the House. Tennessee is going to lead the nation.
Nice, right? But no corruption in Tennessee. No hot mic moments captured. No negotiating with Stephen Miller of all people, right? Behind the scenes. Right. So Stephen Miller's in Tennessee again, if you stroke the ego, if you fucking pull it, you'll get whatever you want. Don't want to discuss that though, do you, Mecca, right? You don't want to talk about the one of the largest Medicaid fraud cases that's being litigated currently, or fraud or actual fraud coming from Minnesota, or fraud from the Trump administration. You don't want to talk about that. You'll find a way to spin it. But nothing to see here. It's totally fine. You guys are all above board, nothing to see. Okay, a few more things that I wanted to, like I said, we'll spend the last 2 hours talking about Sasha Rowley's testimony. I'll give you a precursor. There is some very, very, there's no soft way. It's horrible. It's absolutely despicable. I'm going to do my best to try to navigate through this without triggering people. I can't promise that. So numerous trigger warnings. We'll start that in around 15 minutes or so. So this was the situation with the Fed. The Fed is an independent agency, right? I'm not sure if you heard this, but Tom Tillis has gone on the record saying, I will not vote for any of your nominees because of this bullshit, which means Trump can try to replace the Fed chairperson with his own person so that person then can manipulate the numbers. And Tom Tillis is like, nope, I'm not doing that. I am not going to support any of your nominees. And he's on the banking committee, and he's going to require his vote to make it happen. And he's like, nope, not doing it. So this was a couple of statements. The first sound you're going to hear is from December the 29th regarding the Fed. And then the second sound you'll hear was from yesterday. Okay? Here you go. Hang on one second.
In a suit against Powell for incompetence. The guy's just incompetent. There's nothing you can do about it. He's just a very incompetent man, but we're going to probably bring a lawsuit against him.
President Trump now denying involvement in the investigation, saying, I don't know anything about it, but he's certainly not very good at the Fed.
So let's see. 2 weeks ago, he said he's going to bring a lawsuit. He actually asked the Department of Justice to bring a lawsuit against Jerome Powell, and because MAGA doesn't believe that the weaponization of government exists in the real world, they only believe it exists under Biden. So again, he denied that he had anything to do with it when he went on the record saying this.
We're thinking about bringing a suit against Powell for incompetence. The guy's just incompetent. There's nothing you can do about it. He's just a very incompetent man, but we're going to probably bring a lawsuit against him.
President Trump now denying involvement in the investigation, saying, I don't know anything about it, but he's certainly not very good at the Fed.
So again, which is it, MAGA? Which is it? So it's one of two things, right? It's one of two things. You are either completely fine with him lying to you and you don't care, or you just accept the fact that your guy is fucking nuts. Which is it? Minnesota? That he won Minnesota 3 times? Did he? Did he win Minnesota 3 times? So did he win every state in your mind? Did he win California? Did he win New York? Did he win Vermont? Did he win Illinois? Did he win Washington? Did he win Oregon? Did he win all those states too? Did he win all 50 states in your mind? Okay. Just making sure. I'm just making sure, because it's a stretch to go out there and just make these wild ass fucking claims, but that's you. So we're starting to see, finally, it may be too little too late, because anyway, we're finally starting to see members of the Democratic Party, prominent names that we know, actually start to call some of this shit out, specifically as it relates to ICE. Pam Bondi's in the hot seat big time. Apparently there's an internal reporting that Trump is completely disgusted with her because he was not able to get his retribution lawsuits, weaponization of government against American citizens, James Comey, Letitia James, because of their own fucking incompetence, it blew up in their face. And as a reminder, Alina Habba was brought in, and they brought in Lindsay Halligan, is that her name? All those people were brought in to do this, and then Alina Habba actually had to settle lawsuits from some of her employees because of what she's done in the past. Those are the people that are at the top of the Justice Department, just so you know. So this is Eric Swalwell talking about Kristi Noem. Here you go.
And if my Republican colleagues are going to do nothing right now, you better believe that accountability is coming.
Ooh.
Here's what it looks like. The masks are coming off.
Oh.
Identification is coming out.
Oh.
Immunity is going to be stripped.
Oh.
And to Kristi Noem, Tom Cashbag Homan, and Greg Bovino, your asses are going to be in these witness chairs.
If you have never been motivated to vote, if you are one of the people that don't vote unless it's a presidential election, if you are an independent, if you are a non-MAGA Republican, do all of us a favor. On Election Day, in advance of Election Day, if your state offers mail-in ballots, you vote for every fucking Democrat that you can, so that the people that he just mentioned, Pam Bondi, Cashbag Patel, Greg Bovino,